What would you do if a stranger in a fake uniform slapped your wife in broad daylight? The sound of that slap cut through the air like a gunshot. Neighbors froze mid-step. Kids dropped their bikes right in the street. Even a passing car seemed to slow down, as if the whole world was holding its breath. On the Donnellings' front lawn, a man in a cheap navy blue polo stood over Hannah Donnelly. His fake HOA security badge glinted in the sun. Her hand went to her cheek, eyes wide with both pain and outrage. And just a few feet away, her husband, Jack Donnelly, a retired Navy SEAL with 20 years of service, felt his blood run cold. Not with fear, not with hesitation, but with that dangerous kind of clarity that men like him know all too well. This wasn't Iraq. This wasn't Afghanistan. This was Round Rock, Texas, a quiet suburban street where people waved at each other while watering their lawns. And yet here he was, watching some punk lay hands on his wife. Jack's voice cut the silence. "Did you just hit my wife?" It wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. His tone was sharp enough to slice through bone. The man, Trevor Langley, let out a shaky laugh, tried to puff himself up in front of the two goons standing behind him in their knockoff uniforms. She was out of line, breaking HOA rules. Someone's got to enforce them. Enforce? Jack stepped forward, eyes locked on him. "You think that's enforcement?" From across the street, Mrs. Reynolds whispered to her husband. "I knew this was coming."
Neighbors who had been too scared to speak up suddenly realized they were about to witness something no one could stop. Hannah's voice trembled. "Jack, don't." But she wasn't asking him to back down. She was asking him to be careful. She knew what he was capable of. Trevor mistook her plea for fear. He smirked. "You people don't get it. We run this neighborhood. You break the rules, there are consequences." Jack tilted his head, the faintest curl at his lip. "Consequences for hitting my wife? You're about to learn what consequences really mean." And then Jack moved. No wasted motion, no hesitation. In a blink, Trevor's arm was twisted behind his back, his knees hitting the dirt. His fake authority shattered in one brutal instant. The first henchman charged, Jack's boot slammed into his chest, folding him onto the grass like a rag doll. The second swung wild, Jack sidestepped, caught his wrist, and yanked him down hard enough to rattle teeth. Gasps echoed from the crowd now gathering. Months of fear finally snapping like glass. Jack leaned close to Trevor, his voice a low growl. "You're finished. You'll never lay a hand on her or anyone else again." Trevor whimpered, pinned in the dirt, just as the distant wail of sirens cut through the Texas heat. Someone had called the cops. Blue and red lights began flashing at the end of the block. Neighbors whispered, "Finally." Others pulled out phones, recording what they knew would spread across the neighborhood before sunset. But this fight didn't start with a slap. It started weeks earlier, the moment the Donnellys moved in. Jack and Hannah weren't running from anything when they left Plano. They were running toward peace. After 20 years of combat deployments, Jack wanted quiet mornings and neighbors who waved instead of saluted. Round Rock seemed perfect. Oak-lined streets, kids riding bikes, porch swings creaking in the evening breeze. Their corner lot felt like a fresh start. But peace is fragile, and it doesn't take much to break it. The first red flag came one Sunday morning. Jack was out on a jog when he spotted 3 men in HOA security polos lecturing a couple about their recycling bins. Clipboard, radios, pepper spray holsters. They looked official. Too official. Jack's gut told him something was off. He called it in the next day.
The real HOA? Completely clueless. "Sir, we don't have a security team. Never have." That's when the picture came into focus. These weren't volunteers. They weren't hired. They were imposters running a scam. Neighbors started whispering their stories in secret, threats about basketball hoops, fake fines for curtain colors, intimidation over garden gnomes. Everyone hated them. Nobody stood up to them. Until Jack. The first real standoff happened outside the Chen's house. Trevor and his officers were circling, like vultures, scribbling fake violations. Jack dropped his groceries on the hood of his truck and called out, "Hey, what exactly do you think you're doing?" Trevor smirked. "Standard inspections. You wouldn't understand." "Funny," Jack shot back, "because the HOA told me they don't know who the hell you are." For a moment, the mask slipped, but then Trevor leaned in, voice low. "Careful, Donnelly. This isn't the military. You don't call the shots here." Jack's answer was simple. "I don't need to, but if you lay a hand on one more neighbor, you'll wish you never stepped foot on this street." From that moment, Trevor had a target in mind, and he made it personal. Saturday afternoon, Hannah was out trimming her roses. The sun was high, cicadas buzzing in the heat. She bent to clip a bloom when a shadow fell across the grass. Trevor stood there, too close, clipboard tucked like a weapon. Two of his men waited on the sidewalk, arms crossed. "Afternoon, Mrs. Donnelly," he drawled. "Looks like we've got a problem here. Regulation 12C, no landscaping that obstructs the walkway." Hannah stood, brushing dirt off her gloves. "These are roses. They're nowhere near the walkway." Trevor's smirk widened. "Guess we'll settle it right now." And before anyone could process what was happening, his hand cracked across her face. That was the moment everything changed. By the time the real cops pulled up, Trevor and his crew were broken, humiliated, and exposed. Their fake badges, their fake authority, it all crumbled under the weight of one man refusing to look the other way. Jack stood tall, Hannah at his side, the neighborhood buzzing with the kind of relief only truth brings. Later, people would say it wasn't just about one slap. It was about months of fear finally being shattered. It was about someone willing to fight back when no one else could. The video from that teenager's phone spread fast. Not viral on the internet, viral right where it mattered, in the hearts of those neighbors who realized they didn't have to live scared anymore. As for Jack and Hannah, they didn't move again. They stayed. And for the first time in months, Round Rock felt like home. So what about you? If some stranger in a fake uniform slapped your wife in broad daylight, would you freeze or would you fight back? For Jack Donnelly, the choice was simple, and that choice changed everything. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more powerful true stories, because sometimes the most shocking battles don't happen overseas. They happen right in our own neighborhoods.